And we are recording. Time for some music. It's time for Clubhouse Chatter. Here's the man, the myth. It's Norm.
Hey, we're back for the third show today. So previously we had Jeff from the Charlotte Blue Hornets, Charlotte Police Department baseball team, and then we had Fred Clare on. My third guest today, this is his first appearance on Clubhouse Chatter, and he's a former New York Yankees pitcher. He's also played with the Indians and the Texas Rangers, and his name is Fritz Peterson. Fritz, how you doing this morning?
Hey, doing great. How you guys doing out there way out the coast?
We're doing pretty good. So where are you at?
I'm in the Midwest, mostly in Iowa. We have a couple of kids that live there, and we kind of go between them when we're out traveling. And it's just kind of dull out here compared to your life out there.
Yeah, it's pretty relaxed out here. You ever been out northwest?
What part?
We're in Oregon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. My wife has an aunt out there in Oregon. They live in Hood River, this surfing capital of the world.
Yeah, it's just like an hour and a half away from me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it out there.
So you primarily pitched with the New York Yankees, and so you pitched from about 66 to what, 74 or so?
That's it.
And 1970, you had a record of 20-11. You had a 2.90 ERA, and you were part of the American League All-Star team. And what was your All-Star game experience?
Oh, it was horrible. Actually, it was great. I wouldn't replace it for anything, but my appearance out there was in the ninth inning. And Earl Weaver had brought me in to relieve for Catfish Hunter, who, of course, you know how good Catfish was. And so I came in to face Willie McCovey. And I didn't know it, but the year before that, he was the MVP of the World Series. And it wouldn't have mattered because he's still just a big threat out there. And I had runners on first and second, and 1 out. And I worked him pretty well. I got 0-2 on him, and I threw him a slider outside, and I got too much of the plate, and Willie grounded it past Davy Johnson at second base, and went in for in the right center for a hit, and they scored, so that brought in Mel Stottlemyre for me. And he faced Roberto Clemente, a pretty good right-handed hitter, and with 1 out, and a man on third. So Clemente flied out the center, but it brought in the run that tied the game. And so it went extra innings, and that's the game, if you remember, Pete Rose ran down Ray Fosse at home plate.
Blew him up.
Yeah, and it's the first game they had a microphone on a manager out there, so it's pretty well played. And I caused that, unfortunately, because I didn't yank the ball over a little bit further away from McCovey, or to strike him out. And better yet, the ground ball he hit just went past Davy Johnson's glove at second base, which would have been a double play, a game-ending double play. So it's funny how little teensy bits of inches, a little half-inch out more from Willie, and the game's over, possibly. At least there's 2 outs if I strike them out. So I've lived that over 1.5 million times, and I'd love to redo that. I'll redo that in heaven. Of course, then Willie will hit a home run.
So was your 1970 season, was that the highlight of your career?
It actually was because of 2 things. That winning 20 on the last day of the season that year, which is a story in itself, and then being in that All-Star game, which I can't get out of my head. So that was the year. But I had fun. I loved that season, even at the beginning and end of it. And then the off season, it was just like being in heaven. But we didn't win the World Series. Didn't even come close because the Baltimore Orioles, beat us by 15 games, even though we came in second. We had no chance, and neither did anybody else, because Baltimore was just so good.
Right. So now you have a book that's out, and it is titled "When the Yankees Were on the Fritz." And tell us a little bit about your book.
Okay. That book started about 3.5 years ago. In fact, it had 3 different names to it in my own mind. Mel and I, for Mel Saddlemeyer and I. And then Lifetime Teammates Forever was the next name. And then finally, Marty Appel suggested, why don't you name it When the Yankees Were on the Fritz? Because that was during the whole Horace Clarke years when the Yankees, in my first year there, came in last place for the first time in history as the New York Yankees. And it was the year that I thought, oh, good, I'm in the big leagues. I can get a World Series share now, big leagues with the Yankees. And here we come in last place. But the sad part of that is the rest of my career was about the same way with the team not really having a chance to win. And that's what I kind of go over in the book, how it was impossible as I researched the book in the time, how we could not win. It just was impossible. And they named that time frame the Horace Clarke era.
Right.
And I think it's a good name because Horace, even though he was a wonderful guy and a hard worker, he kind of exemplified the talent that we had. Horace was good at certain things, but at turning double plays, he was terrible. He would jump out of there all the time. And it cost us games that you don't see in the paper, but you know it's happening when you're out there pitching and watching what happens at second base.
Right. So now I notice on your Facebook page you're still a Yankee guy, and you're always posting something about different Yankees. And so first place. So what is your take on this season's Yankees? Number one. And what do they need? We got the trade deadline coming up, and what do you think they need to get to that final step, the World Series title?
Sure. I'm really proud of the Yankees this year because nobody really thought much of them, including me. And then as you look through the standings so far this year, everybody seems to be beating everybody else up, which is good for the Yankees because they're sneaking away slowly and putting the things together that they've traded for and brought up through the minors for. And things are really working like they used to before I got to the Yankees, when they were the Yankees of old. And for that, I'm really, really happy because that's the only box scores I look at are the Yankees. And personally, I don't know the players like I should. I don't get the Yes Network where we live. I mean, I could, but I don't have the time right now. I'm taking most of my time on Facebook and then doing a couple other books. But I don't really know what they need. Last night I saw the end of the Yankee game, or just about the end, when a big, tall lefty that looked like Randy Johnson just ate Prince Fielder up. Like he wasn't even there, and it reminds me of what I should have done to Willie McCovey. But it just, I can't say they need any help right now because I'm not on it day to day. But it sure looks good from where I sit and watch the box scores. They
are looking pretty good. A-Rod, by the way, hit his 24th home run last night on his birthday, and so yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm not a big A-Rod guy. But bygones are bygones. A-Rod did what he did, and, he did what he needed to, whether it's right or wrong. But, man, A-Rod is looking pretty good for 40 years old. And, he's trying. He's trying to make amends. I don't know if it's too late. I'm not the one to judge. But I'm having fun this season watching what A-Rod is doing at the age of 40.
Oh, me too. No question about it. And the way I look at it, is that in the last few years, A-Rod has been just A-Rod, a player, a rogue, whatever, selfish maybe, whatever. But to me now, I look at him as a Yankee, trying to do anything he can this year, even with the bad rep he's got. Yeah. Because he's wearing that away, which is good. And you can't say that he's the most honest man in the world, but my goodness, now you're looking for teammates to bring the Yankees back to the series. So really nothing else matters. You lump everybody into that 25-man group, and you just do the best you can, and these guys are doing it, A-Rod and all. So I commend them.
So as growing up as a kid, and I'm sure it's this way for many grown men, many kids, you grow up in, playing in the backyard, you're playing for a handful of teams. You're either playing for the Cincinnati Reds or the New York Yankees or the Chicago Cubs. And of course the Yankees with all their great tradition. What was it like being a Yankee, and what is it like now, being part of that tradition?
Oh, it's great now. I mean, the last few years have really hurt watching it as sparsely as I do. But then it seemed like they had too many problems to overcome. So right now I'm seeing, hey, these are the Yankees of the early 60s and of the late 70s. They're not the ones that I played with during the Horace Clark years. But they're a team that maybe even of older guys. And the biggest city, for baseball or anything in the world, New York, which don't allow too many mistakes to be made. But I'm proud. I can't wait to get back there. I'm going back in a couple of weeks, and I'm doing some minor league teams and going around doing book signing.
Nice.
And that's a blast. Yeah. So it's been fun. And I really enjoy getting up in the morning. And now I know how the poor Yankee fans felt living through our era, the Horace Clark era. How it must have put a black cloud over everybody's head during the days after our losses and stuff, especially since they were used to having winners in there. But I apologize for that in my book, and I show how we could not win then, and yet, as you know, we're talking about right now, it looks like they're back.
Yes, it does. It does, and I'm surprised. Everybody had the Red Sox pegged, and you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the Yankees being at the top. I definitely don't want it to be the Red Sox. So one of my good friends grew up a Yankees fan, and and so that's where that comes from. So just listening to his growing up as a kid, his Thurman Munson stories. Plus, the historic value of the Yankees. Everybody grows up as a kid wanting to play for the Yankees or the Reds or the Cubs, and I was no different growing up in Idaho. In fact, the area I grew up in, they had a minor league team in Twin Falls, Idaho, and it was two of them. So there was the Magic Valley Cowboys and the Twin Falls Cowboys, and both of them were a minor league team of the Yankees back in the day. So there's been a couple of, Mickey Rivers, I think, Mick the Quick came through, and I think you went somewhere else, playing in the minor leagues. So growing up as a boy, who did you follow? Was there a certain team or certain players?
Yeah, it was. It was a certain team. It was the Chicago White Sox. And my favorite two players were Billy Pierce, a left-handed pitcher who wore number 19, and Nelson Fox, number 2, a second baseman who used a bottle bat. Mm-hmm. And he was a great contact hitter, and I always dreamed someday of, if I couldn't be on the White Sox, of striking him out. And I never got a chance, even though I got to meet him as a coach for Washington and stuff, and it was a real pleasure to meet him. Because you know how you have idols as a child, and Pierce and Nellie Fox were. So then when I got to the Yankees, and to go back 1 minute, we had two teams in Chicago where I live, the Cubs and the White Sox. And because I was a White Sox fan, I hated the Cubs. And then when I got to New York and played on the Yankees, it was automatic that I hated the Mets because they were the National League team.
Right.
And yet, if you look in the history books, you'll see that from 1966 to 69, they were really starting to shoot out of the sky. And in 69, they won everything. And on the other hand, we as the Yankees were going downhill as fast as you could, and just hanging on to Mantle at the end there, which he quit after the 1968 season. And then the Mets winning the world after that. It was just a depressing time of my life for that reason. It was wonderful because of New York, wonderful because of baseball and being a Yankee, which I would never trade for anything, no matter if we won or lose. The pinstripes have such a great feeling, even to this age. I'm 73 and climbing, and I'm still happy to see pinstripes on somebody.
Nice. So let's chat. So you chatted about a little bit about Mickey Mantle, and so you were there for the end of his career. Let's talk about the Mick a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Mickey.
Well, he was just a wonderful teammate, and it hurt to watch him struggling physically in those days and losing his friends like Whitey Ford, whose arm was in the last inning, and people like that. But it was just something else. That guy, to look at him, the first time I ever saw him, when I walked into spring training in 1966, I thought, wow. There's a God. He had arms like Popeye and just blonde, and the thing you could expect an athlete to look like at that time. And he knew that us rookies were afraid of him because he was so good in everything. So one day I was sitting on my little stool there at my locker, and here comes this guy. And I know who it is, of course, and he sticks out his hand and he said, "Hi, Fritz, I'm Mickey Mantle." And I'm thinking, oh, right, I didn't know that, right? And here he is standing at my locker with his hand out, becoming a new teammate of mine. I didn't know I'd make the team then, but I did. And my first center fielder was Mickey Mantle. And that guy, what a wonderful man. I miss him to this day. He liked me because I called him Thumper. Because he hit that ball. I mean, you couldn't believe it, especially right-handed. But watching him swing and go down with those knees after he took a big swing, it just was sad. And as much as I missed him after the '68 season, I was happy for him to get off those knees and try to have a life.
So I have to ask you, so not everybody, but quite a few people are comparing Mike Trout to Mickey Mantle. I don't know how much you have gotten to watch Mike Trout play. I obviously, never. I mean, I've seen clips of Mickey Mantle, so it's not fair for me to judge. But what do you think about Mike Trout? Do you think those comparisons are fair?
Here's how much I know about baseball nowadays. Is Trout a switch hitter or not?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And right there, I think, is a big difference. Even though, from what I've seen in the All-Star game, that first inning and everything, it looks great. It looks like he's got the fans taken care of as a favorite everywhere he goes. And in that regard, I would say it's possible. But if he were a switch hitter, it would be easier to compare the two of them. Trout could very much have better stats than Mickey in now compared to Mickey's time. But they kind of look similar. If you see how Trout looks, that's how Mickey looked, with Popeye arms and just fantastic. And I wish Trout all the best in his career because he looks like a good kid.
So Mickey, from what I hear, and in the clips Mickey was a freak. And so the question I have for you is, do you think Mickey could play in today's game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he had decent knees and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, he'd be here. He'd be one of the best. And he'd be thrilling because he is the Trout that hit both ways and fast. I mean, Mickey, when in his youth, could run as fast as anybody to first base, and he would. And he was just a gamer, and that's the thing I liked about him. Kind of like Munson and Mercer, real gamers.
So once again, I've got Fritz Peterson on, and former Yankee pitcher. Fritz, hey, thank you for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I just appreciate this. You're a good interviewer. You make it easy to answer questions, and I hope people buy the book because it's fun.
Yeah.
You can get it at Amazon.com. Just look on the internet. I have a Facebook page. It's pretty interesting if you want to jump on that too. And life is fun again, especially since I'm so involved mentally in the game through the Facebook thing.
Well, I know I've been enjoying following you on Facebook, and I got to add another White Sox story. So I've got to throw in Pete Ward because you mentioned Pete Ward a couple of days ago. And so Pete Ward is a local boy. Pete Ward lives like a half an hour from me.
Oh, yeah.
And so have you met Pete at all?
Oh, yeah, I know Pete. We played together, I think, in 1970, maybe 71 also. We used to call Pete the Wagon because he wasn't the fastest runner in the world, but he was one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in baseball, and his wonderful wife as well. And if I ever come out there, I'll be sure to go see them because they're delightful people, and I'd love to meet you out there, too.
Well, definitely. You know, you got my phone number. I'm always available, and, you know, it's because of you know, guys like you know, who I enjoy baseball so much. You know, you've got a story to tell, and you know, I'm trying to help grow the game internationally and even nationally. You know, you know, it's a passion. I never played a heck of a lot of it, but I just love the game. I've worked in the minor leagues and for a couple of different organizations. Great. And you know, thank you for coming on the show, and we hope to have you on again soon.
Pleasure. Hey, please stay in touch.
Will do. Thank you, Fritz.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Once again, Mr. Fritz Patrick, former Peterson, former New York Yankee, and man, 2011. You know, he had a short career. Well, it wasn't really short. What did he play like? So 11 years. He went 133 and 131. He had a 3.30 ERA. That's pretty decent.
Not bad. Pretty good pitcher.
2011, even though, you know, the Yankees were not very good. I mean, I wonder what, you know, he would have been like if the Yankees would have been better.
I just feel bad for, you know, the guy that is getting blamed for it, Horace Clarke.
Horace Clarke.
Poor guy.
No doubt. Hey, so I'm Norm. That is producer Brian, chomping on his gum. We are sponsored by baseballism.com. Check him out, baseballism.com. Also, Mitch Canham, basebypros.com. So, building an athlete sports education. Baseballdudes.com. To be the best, you must train like the best. And that is Chris Gazelle up in Vancouver. Wah. And finally, Mark Canham, Mitch's dad. He also listens to the show. MDM Designs. So any shirts, hats, whatever, give Mark a call. And we always stream live on yamhilltoday.com. Check us out every week. And also, if you would like to sponsor, we're taking, you know, emails, you know, chat with me, normbo18@gmail.com. We're everywhere. YouTube, Clubhouse Chatter, email.com. You know, go ahead and email me, clubhousechatter@18@gmail.com. Clubhouse Chatter with Norm on Facebook, and we're on Twitter at Clubhouse Chatter, 1T, not the 2. And we are now on iTunes, Clubhouse Chatter. Check us out. Hey, we'll be back at 1 o'clock for Mr. Carl Erskine. You're not going to want to miss Carl. We'll catch you later.